Hey everybody, welcome to my Tuesday drawing video. I'm trying something a little different. We're going to actually do this all live, no editing, no cuts, which I don't do really any editing anyway, but excuse me. But I thought I'd try it this way just to see what happens, see if we do anything fun or cool this way. You guys decided that we're going to do the Fabulous Frogman. I wanted to do some really fun, little, stupid, old school, obscure Marvel characters because, man, they don't get a lot of love. So, what we're going to do is, I have some references kind of set off to the side here. I just got to find him real quick. Because, well, references are important. I don't care who you are. If you ain't got references, sometimes you just have a hard time getting anything down. But, anyways, I'm actually kind of shocked you guys chose him. He's a lot of fun, but not a lot of people really know who he is. So, anyways, let's get to it. Yeah, there's my hands here. We're actually doing this all live. I've got 2 cameras now. What do you know? Anyways, so let's go ahead and get him started. Why not? It's Frogman. He's kind of a chubby dude, but he's also, it's such a fun story. His dad was a criminal known as the Leapfrog back in the day. And because his dad was a criminal, he decided to how to put it, atone for his dad's sins. So he took his dad's old suit and started actually trying to do good with it. He's not the best superhero in the world, but gotta give him some credit. He tries, right? So anyways, let's go ahead and get started. First things first, like I said, he's kind of a tubby guy, but I want to do a bit of an acrobatic pose, or at least something where you see he's jumping, right? Oh, let's adjust that camera. I don't like how... Oh, wait, wrong one. We're going to mess with this boom here for a second, guys. Wish me luck. Let's hope this thing doesn't fall apart as I'm going. So I want to center it. I don't know about you guys. The weirdo in me is like, it's not centered. It's not correct. But let's see what we can do. Oh, yeah, hey, there's my boom. My other camera's sitting up here. Don't worry, it's nothing fancy. It's just an old-fashioned... It's just an iPhone. But anyways, let's get back to this. It's kind of nice being able to look right into the camera and see what's going on, rather than sitting after the fact and hoping you get everything right. So drawing videos are always going to be longer, especially when they're done kind of live like this, so I really hope you guys dig all this. It's a lot of fun for me. I love drawing for you guys. Because, you know, my whole life has been drawing. And, you know, why not share that with you? What I'm doing is... You know, we've talked about this before. It's stupid simple. It's just an adaptation of the Loomis method. You know, I do everything kind of... It's a little bit more gestural than, you know, what Andrew Loomis was really going into. Oh, yeah, there's my lucky rabbit feet. Hang on. I'm going to raise this up just a hair. Yeah, I think that's better. The coat, right? We can get this all figured out eventually, right? Oh, hey, look, y'all see more of my arms now. Anyways, I think I'm actually going to live stream like this. This is kind of fun. Anyways, so oh crap, what was his name? His real name's Eugene Patillo, I think, in the comics. They did him in She-Hulk. I thought that was kind of fun. He was really neat. It was really neat to see him take to the screen, if you will. Or actually, I think it was supposed to be his dad, because they were calling him Leapfrog, I think. I don't know. Either way, it was fun to see him, you know. So when I draw, it's, especially at this stage, it's literally just kind of loose and rough. I'm not really trying to do anything too overly complicated. I remember starting out, somebody always told me, go loose to tight, simple to complex. You know, that's the easiest way to get anything done. I'm sorry, this is my first real attempt at doing something like this, so we're going to be playing with some technical difficulties as I go. But we're going to get her in. And I don't like the way that arm is set up. So normally I'd hit it with the kneaded eraser, but I want that arm gone. So what we're using, just a good old-fashioned Statler, PVC, latex-free kind of thing. You know, these are, I think they're called Pacific Art. I don't know, it's something you can pick up at, I want to say I picked them up at Joann's, or the small town I grew up in. The only real art supplies we ever had was Hobby Lobby at the time. Things have changed since then, but I'm not the biggest fan of Hobby Lobby, but sometimes you got to do what you can, you know, depending on circumstances and the area you're in. I've moved to a bigger city since, and these guys have just come with me ever from there. Oh God, I don't know how many of them I have floating around now. I just really like them. They're a little bit heavier than the Stadlers, which I like, because I don't like I like something with a little weight to it, you know? Make me feel like I'm actually holding something. That's where, like, some of my early forays into trying digital art were so difficult, because those early styluses, man, they were just, oy, I didn't like them all that much. They felt too light. They didn't feel like I was holding anything. But I digress. But yeah, like I said, we're just loosening. We're getting everything in nice and loose. I'm not really focused on details at this point. In fact, I have a very heavy hand in this. We're going to have to set this boom up a little different, I think, guys. Because it is just no fun seeing this thing shake as I'm drawing. And the other thing is this actually helps me try to sit up a little bit more, because, I don't know about you guys, but I shrimp up a lot when I draw. It's never fun. We're not going to do anything, like I said, we're not doing anything real complicated at this stage. This is just getting things in. One thing I am going to do, though, is I kind of want a little bit of a forced perspective kind of coming off of his hand. So we're going to do that there. We're going to make that hand kind of small. And I actually like the idea, maybe. Yeah, let's do that. We're going to kind of curl his arm to where he looks like he's crashing through a window or something. That might be kind of fun, right? Who knows? We'll see. We'll find out. Yeah, I actually kind of like this. And now I have no idea. I thought I had a straight edge or a ruler around here somewhere. I guess I don't. Oh, I think we are kind of SOL in that. Look at here. Alright, that's something I can use. Not the most ideal, but hey, a Bondo scraper is a straight edge, isn't it? So let's line it up. And have him come crashing through here. I like to kind of draw through. Oops, that's not quite the right angle we're looking for. I think that's a bit better. Granted, I think this Bondo scraper is not quite straight either, but hey, we're using what we got today. Don't worry, guys. I can't afford a ruler. I usually have one. I just have completely lost where the hell it went. But that's all right, because that gives me an idea of where everything's going. And you know, Frogman, he's not a serious character, so we can be a little goofy with him, and I'm actually going to play a little bit more to that cartoony kind of thing. Yeah, his costume is very ridiculous. He literally looks like a giant frog. I can't make this up. If you don't believe me, look him up. The only thing that kind of makes him not a frog is, well, you see his human eyes peering out of the mouth. And again, we're not focusing on doing anything too elaborate. We're not trying to focus on getting every detail exactly right just right now. This is literally kind of an exploratory. We're kind of exploring. We're kind of digging around, kind of getting to know the character, you know? Getting to know the pose, getting to know the anatomy. Actually, if we just come through that window, let's do that. And I'm gonna... Yeah. I actually don't like, I'm wanting to have a little bit of, oh boy, my drawing, having that boom up on that drawing table, man, that's, woo! Getting the shaky cam going on here. We might have to, make some changes to that in the future, guys. Yeah, that actually looks a little goofier. I'm good with that. Let's see. It's going to look real goofy, so this is how I kind of figure out. Yeah, there we go. What I thought. Sometimes it's a good idea while you're drawing. You don't have to do anything real elaborate. Just kind of check your anatomy here and there. I'm not saying I'm the expert at this. You might have a better way, and if you have a better way, by all means, let me know. I would love anything I can do to check anatomy is always helpful. Like, honestly, I feel like I've been focusing too much on that hand, and if you look, he's just it's a wee bit too high. But that's fine, because we can now do this. I was trying not to block out too much of that eye, but that makes this look a little bit more. And as you can tell, as I'm going, I'm just kind of slowly tightening things up. It makes it a little bit easier as we kind of dig in and start kind of adding detail if you kind of tighten and build things as you go. Getting in some of those little anatomy markers. And, this isn't going to be the best in the world. We're literally just kind of sketching and kind of putting it together. The thing is, though, is as you build, oh, thank God the AC finally turned on. It is hot in here, guys. But as you draw, you just slowly start tightening up more and more until eventually you get a finished drawing. As you can tell, it's getting more and more, we're getting more and more of the character as we keep digging. One of the fun things about the Frogman, or Leapfrog as his dad was known, is that he has these cool little springs on his boots. I think they call them coils, but I'm gonna just call them springs. Let's be real. But the reason he was called the Frogman was, well, he hopped. I mean, what else can you say? He hopped around and he fought crime. All the while dressed in the most ridiculous frog costume I could ever dream of. I mean, guy looks like a football mascot. The only thing oh yeah, and he has springs on his boots. Well, like, we talked about that. Sorry, don't mind me. It's a little later than normal. I had my dinner, and wouldn't you know it, when I had my dinner, I ended up spilling half of my mac and cheese all over my foot. Yeah, that sucked. And I'm sure you can tell my posture isn't the best. But, what can you do? I tend to hunker. It is my flaw. I am part of the shrimp club, ladies and gentlemen. So eventually I'll figure out how to put like some kind of music or something kind of underneath this. Right now I'm listening to the world famous Lo-Fi Beach Girl. I don't know if you can hear it in the background or not. If you can, I apologize. And YouTube, please don't shut me down. I don't think it's copyrighted anyway, but so yeah, here we go. I'm just kind of kicking in those coils right now, just so we have them. And looky here, we have Frogman. I don't know if he can still do it, but he looks kind of like he's dabbing almost. But that's okay. We can just say fuck it. He's a dabbing frogman. Frogman. What the fuck is wrong with you, Matt? Don't y'all hate it when your ear just starts itching for no reason? Normally, I'd try to have rulers out, get all the perspective down. Actually, no, I wouldn't. Most of the time, I just kind of do this as I go. Hopefully, we get it right. Hopefully, it doesn't screw everything up. I'm one of those real fast and loose artists. I don't really do a lot of plotting and planning. I try to thumbnail, but half the time, if I can get it down in one go, I'm going to get it down in one go. I've always found my first instinct is usually the best. And then, if I'm working with a client, a lot of times, the client actually that's when they get their say, They start going, okay, how can we change this or do this? And then we get together and, anytime you're working as an artist, everything is a collaboration. So a lot of times that's the easiest thing. Hang on, I bumped something. But a lot of times that's how everything kind of comes to fruition, is I'm not gonna make a lot of effort first. I want to make sure that me and my client have a rapport, or we know what's going on. And, from there, it's just kind of a work together thing. God, I sound like such a dick, don't I? All right, sorry guys, had to take a little break. So we've got this now. Let's try to figure out where to go from here. Normally with this, I use some good old-fashioned kneaded rubber. What I really like about kneaded erasers is normally with erasers you're removing paper. This stuff, it's kind of like, it's kind of like glue, It ever so slightly picks up everything. And this is a good way to kind of lighten up your pencil drawing. Because normally I'd go pen and ink, but I think we're just going to keep this as a pencil drawing for now. This will give you clear insight and at least kind of show you how to build everything up. Thing with kneaded erasers is they're kind of fickle. Sometimes they're great, sometimes they're crap. Normally I use, let's see, Faber-Castell. I've found these are some of the best I can get a hold of. They're relatively cheap, and you can find them in, 3 and 4 packs. Sometimes that's good, because those things, a lot of times, if you're disorganized like I am, you can lose those things quick. So, anyways, let's go ahead and get into this now. So, I normally always recommend having, even with these little guys, I always recommend having some sort of sharpener for them. I've found these little guys, it's June Gold. They're made specifically for 2mm leads. They're kind of neat. And that way you're not having to fiddle with, trying to, those little bitty ones that are, oh man, they're so hard to get a hold of sometimes, or when you find them, you end up losing them quick. So, real simple, it's just like any other pencil sharpener. This guy was dead. I don't know if y'all saw it, but, get a good little point on your leads with those. And I'm not sponsored by any of this shit. This is just stuff that I found that I really like. I hope that makes sense. Believe me, if I was sponsored, we wouldn't be on this little of a YouTube channel. That being said, June Gold, any of these companies, if y'all ever want to sponsor me, come hit a man up. I'm good. I'll take money for this shit. But I decided a long time ago that if I ever started a YouTube channel, if I ever do find or look for sponsors, it's going to be stuff that I use or that I would recommend other people using. So what I'm doing right now is we're going to be doing kind of a quick and dirty, kind of getting everything ready for inks. That being said, we're probably not going to ink this tonight. Not because I don't want to, because trust me, I'd rather use inks. But I thought it would be kind of fun to actually just do a quick and dirty pencil render. Because sometimes that can be just as tedious as doing inks. I don't like shading unless we're going for a more realistic render. I'm doing a more comic book style render right now. I don't believe in perfectionism. I'm going to try to get everything as right as I can anatomically. Not because, of any sort of weird, clinging to some sort of dogma. It's more just because you want things to be somewhat believable when you draw them. I mean, drawing and all that stuff, it's trying to render the world. It's your view of the world. That's a better way of putting it. One of these days, I'll actually be able to be a little bit more coherent when I'm not reading from a script. But if you're watching Tuesday, that's why you like these, because I'm not reading from a script. I'm literally sitting here babbling and trying to fill dead air. But everything I'm doing right now is just kind of giving myself some shadows, some stuff to go off of, if and when I do decide to ink this guy. There's no shame in that. Trying to get some semblance, like I said earlier, of any sort of anatomy, but I'm also still trying to keep everything really loose and energetic. I like lines being very energetic. I like stuff being really bold. I think that's the old tattooer in me. We have a saying in the industry, bold will hold. Well, there's nothing truer than that. You put a lot of black in something, it's gonna look better. It's gonna draw the eye better, and you're gonna see it. It's not gonna be this trying to figure out what trying to make out what I'm doing here. Also, if you're an artist and you're drawing along, do me a favor, don't be a shrimp like I am. Don't hunch over your desk. I do it because I can't work on those incline drawing tables. I blame school desks as a kid. But yeah, definitely do better than I do. Please. Because you don't want my chiropractor bill. But literally, it's just getting everything rendered in. Like I said, nothing too fancy. I'm not doing anything that is, out of this world or mind-blowing. When you do start doing kind of bigger masses of black, I always recommend kind of tilt your pencil. Use the side of your pencil. Like I said, none of this stuff is perfect. It's not supposed to be. It's not. It's literally just kind of letting me know where my contours are, where my shadows are, that sort of thing. No lie, I always wanted to be a comic artist. Unfortunately, the way my brain works, thank you ADHD, I couldn't sit and draw the same characters over and over and over and over again. It drives me insane. You guys that do that stuff where you have OCs that you keep adding in, man, I envy you. I never could get into that. I tried. I really did. I had a couple of characters that I always drew a lot of, and one day it just kind of went away. I didn't like it anymore, so I had to go find something else to draw. It's kind of like drawing with drawing pencil, or drawing pencils. I'm drawing with a goddamn pencil. I'm an idiot, guys. I hope you know this. But working with the same characters over and over, oh man, yeah. Comic book artists, hats off to you. I tried illustration. Honestly, I would have stayed in illustration a lot longer, but it's a hard business to break into. Or it was back when I started. Now it's a little different. It's still not easy to break into. You have to know how to market yourself now. You have to know how to market to the people that you want to see your art. And that's why I got into tattooing. I've found, and I think I'm going to be pretty honest, as an artist, being a tattooer is probably one of the most stable career choices to go into as an artist. Especially if you can build a clientele, build a rapport with your clientele, and really enjoy what you're doing. I don't work a 9 to 5. I haven't worked a 9 to 5 in, over 25 years, really. I've worked a couple of little jobs here and there when tattooing got slow, but I've never had to worry about, my career. And even when business was slow, I still made money doing it. There's something to be said about that. And I thank my lucky stars every day that I fell into this. I started out as a tattooer without a single tattoo on my body. Now, I'm sure you can tell it's a little different. But the opportunities that I've had, the friends that I've made, the things I've seen, places I've gone, All of that is because of this business. And it is a weird business to get into. But it's incredibly rewarding for the right person. I was lucky. I had a thick skin. I'm pretty teachable, so that helps. You know, as an artist, I pursued an art education until about high school. Once high school ended, that's where my art education ended, as far as formal stuff goes. I got really lucky in the fact that I had a lot of really good friends that I sat around and drew with. And some of those guys have gone on to illustration careers, art careers in some way, form, or fashion. One of my best friends in the world now, he is an art teacher. And he loves it. He couldn't be happier. You know, I kind of took some inspiration from him to start doing this. Because while I can't teach you the, while I can give you some education, the whole thing for me is trying to help you guys be sane while you're doing it. Because art's hard. Art is not, being a professional artist is not an easy path. And it's filled with a lot of, pitfalls, a lot of holes, a lot of traps. And unfortunately, a lot of young artists fall for that kind of stuff. But fortunately, there's a lot of really good people out there trying to protect the art communities, trying to keep everybody, safe and happy and all of that. So yeah, literally all I'm doing right now, I'm babbling hard, aren't I? All I'm doing right now is just getting everything, all of the blacks, everything where I can come in at a later date and solidify it more with ink. This isn't this is more frustrating than anything. Well, actually, no, I'll take that back. It's not that frustrating. It's just tedious. And a lot of art is tedious. But, and I've talked about it in videos past, the tedium becomes very rewarding when things finish out and you see that successful image. I think we're going to bring it back here. Yeah. It's funny. I was going to sit here and talk all about Frogman whenever I sat down, but unfortunately, you guys get the patented Matt Henniger ramble about, hell, I don't know, whatever I'm talking about. But yeah, this is kind of what we're working towards, is just, let's see, make sure that yeah, there we go. Here we go there. For some reason, I always feel like there should be a little pit right there, so we're going to put one in. I know in the actual comic it's not, but damn it, this is my drawing. I can do what I want, right? And again, what I'm doing here isn't, full-on realistic rendering, shading, any of that. It's literally just kind of getting it where if you're inking, you know what you're doing. If you're not inking it, your inker will know what to do. I'm a big fan, like if somebody else was to ink this, I want things to be as tight as they can be so the inker has no question of what I was kind of seeing. Because if you're collaborating with an inker, it's kind of a cooperative effort. But you need them to know kind of where you're at. But I like to keep things loose enough that if I did have somebody ink this, sorry, that beard itch, man. If they wanted to kind of figure out, if they needed to know where the lights were coming from, where everything was going, they actually have no question on what's what. And there we go. He's popping out. Let's get that little shattered glass that I was kind of playing with earlier. Kind of fun. As a kid growing up in a small town, I never really visited a lot of large cities. Well, I'd say that. I grew up right outside of Memphis, so the largest city we ever got to see was Memphis, Tennessee. And believe me, that it's a big city. But when you compare it with the likes of, the Big Apple, New York, all of that, massive urban development, Memphis kind of looks like, small fries. So I always thought it was kind of fun when I was a kid. I visited New York City every month when I read comics. You learn, God, for the longest time, I thought Latveria was a real country. Yeah, I was that kid. But I cannot take away anything that comics has ever given me. Comics gave me a love for drawing. It gave me a fandom that I'm still a huge part of. Always kind of fun to sit down and play with comic book characters. And let's be honest, you have to know at least the basics of anatomy to draw a superhero. With superheroes, it's all exaggerated anatomy. I think that's part of the reason why I like Frogman. It was a little bit exaggerated, but he was not built like a traditional superhero. I think that's why I put him in the mix on that. I'm really glad you guys chose this. He's been fun. And I do incredibly appreciate you guys listening to my word salad tonight. I've enjoyed sitting here babbling to you guys, and I really look forward to doing more of these. Because, these are always fun to do. So anyways, here we go. Actually, no. I'm not done yet. Let's kind of throw in some kind of hints of buildings here. Yeah, y'all thought I was done. And what we can do with this, and actually what'll be really nice, we're going to scribble this in because I want to give a little bit of a background to it. And I'm just drawing generic kind of bricks to make them look like buildings. We're not going to get anything really deep, and I'm not going to pull into architectural drawings or anything like that. I am no Todd McFarlane. But we can at least pretend to make some buildings. And this was literally, I used a reference of Frogman just so I had some kind of idea of what his costume looked like. Most everything else, we're just kind of fiddle-farting around and, you know, playing with ideas. Because art doesn't always have to be serious. You can fiddle-fart around and have a good time and draw whatever the hell you feel like drawing. Because, I don't know if anybody's told you this, but art's supposed to be fun, kids. Alright, so there you have it. We got Frogman busting through a window. Hey! So, there we go, guys. Tell me what you think down in the comments. I'm gonna, if y'all want me to ink it, let me know. That might be next week's video. But if you like what you saw, drop a like, drop a comment. Let me know if any of that word salad babble gets to you. And if it did, great. If not, just go, Matt, what the hell were you talking about, you dumbass? And who knows, we might go back into doing a drawing and a voiceover or something like that. But anyways, I wanted to try something a little different, see what you guys think. If you like, comment, all of that stuff. You know what I'm talking about. If this is your first time visiting, hi, I'm Matt. I'm a tattooer, 25 years in, and I just drew Frogman. Anyways, guys, thank you again for watching. Thank you again for listening to an old man ramble while he draws an obscure Marvel character. You guys have a wonderful night, and I'll see you again on Tuesday for another drawing video. Look into my community tab. That's where I put my polls. And starting probably in the next week or two, I'm going to have a Discord and a Patreon up. If you want to join, join. If not, I get it. You know, money's tight these days. I totally understand. All right, guys. Well, I'm out for the week. And I guess I'll see y'all next week. Be good to each other. Make bad art. And embrace that suck. Bye, guys.